Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is updates only, so we are going to be reading stories that have updates. The title of the first story is I, male 31, didn't let my girlfriend, female 24, wipe my ass. She cried and is now super upset. Trigger warning, detailed description of defecation. Oh Lord, okay. I'm scared. It is what it sounds like. We've been dating for 1.5 years, exclusive during the entire relationship. This girl is caring, loving, understanding, funny, sweet, charming, smart, and very responsible. Loyal AF. I got into an accident a week ago. I won't delve into this too much. I needed therapy to strengthen my lower body, and now I'm admitted to the hospital for some retests and a physical therapy test of some sort where I have to show the doctor if my lower body can do certain movements and take certain weights. I'm in a separate wing from the COVID patients, super far away, so we are quite safe. My girlfriend is an essential worker, not a nurse, so she can move around with more flexibility. She has been staying with me except when she has her shifts. Yesterday morning, I had to take a dump. I can stand and walk to the bathroom, but the problem is, that part when you have to push a bit for the poop to come out. Yeah, I can't push too much as I will be exerting pressure on my lower body. So I need to lean forward a bit against the wall across the toilet or lean on someone standing over me while I go. In our house, I can reach the wall, but in the hospital room's bathroom, I can't because it's too wide. I took laxatives for the first few days of the accident to avoid the pushing, but it was put on hold 2 days ago to prepare for the test yesterday. At this point, my back hurts, and I thought, what a shitty timing to go to the bathroom because it would be difficult for me to wipe and wash it. In my country, we wash it with water. So my girlfriend offered to be that someone I can lean on while I go. She said it so nonchalantly that I stared, like it was no big deal for her. Okay, let's go. You can lean on me while you poop. Of course, I didn't let her be that person because it's embarrassing. I said, no, just go to the nurse station and ask if someone can help me. And she said, I'm already here. Why do you need someone else? But I was really feeling the need to go and had no time for arguments. So I raised my voice just a tiny bit and told her to get some help. So she did. A nursing assistant, came not sure what they're called, came and helped me do it. When I was done, I went out and my mom was there looking pretty bummed. She said my girlfriend was upset and crying and told my mom that she is my partner, so I should be comfortable to ask her for that kind of help. I don't know how to react. I just thought, why would I let my girlfriend do that, which is embarrassing and disgusting for her, I would imagine. My girlfriend's point is that why am I more comfortable to be in that kind of a vulnerable position with another woman, the nursing assistant, and not with her? My mom is on her side. The reason I really didn't want her to do it is because I was embarrassed and I don't want her to lose her attraction for me. Now she's feeling like I don't trust her enough and that if I see a future with her, I should be comfortable being vulnerable on that level with her. And to be honest, I see her point now, but I just don't know how to fix this. She went home now and will probably hopefully come back tomorrow, which is my last day here. How do I fix this? I'm not very good at expressing my emotions, so I don't know. Is she a keeper or too emotional? Okay, I am not on her side. I'm like, I totally understand. I don't want to even be pooping in front of my mom. Like, I don't know why. It's just weird. To be honest, though, pooping in front of like a random nursing person, assistant, it's their job. So I feel like it does make it a little different, but I still would be just as uncomfortable. I don't know. I think I would feel the same way as him. I don't think I would let my boyfriend do that because I wouldn't even be able to get it out because I'd be so embarrassed. And obviously maybe this isn't everyone. Like I'm perfectly fine farting in front The fact that we're talking about this right now is crazy. I'm perfectly fine farting in front of my boyfriend. I don't care. But it's just a different situation when it comes to pooping. Like I feel like I would need him to put headphones on, noise canceling headphones, and then also a little plug for his nose, and then I would let him. But those under two conditions, those are the only two conditions that I would let him help me do that because I would just be embarrassed. And I don't know. Maybe it's not valid. I don't know, but that's just how I would feel. And I feel like that's valid because it's my feeling and I can't help but feel that way. So I don't understand why she's so upset. Okay, anyways, there is an update, of course, because this is updates episode, but I didn't think that the comments would be so divisive. Very interesting thoughts. Thank you, everyone. To those who said that this is a red flag and that I should leave her if she doesn't respect my boundaries, I appreciate the thoughts, but this girl loves me for who I am, the good and the bad, willing to stick through it, anything that may come our way. Goofy, smart, loyal, loving, and she gives me a lot of support, kisses, and cuddles every day. I love her to death. We talked and I explained everything very clearly. I made sure to express my love and appreciation for her. You guys who said that she realized we were not on that intimate stage in our relationship that she thought we were, you were right. She was hurt and disappointed that I would think she will lose her attraction for me just because of that. She said I minimized her love for me and that I should have more faith in her. She apologized if she made me feel like her feelings were more valid over my embarrassment. She hopes I will become more comfortable with things like that in my own pace and to let her know if there's anything else she can do for me. And to those who said she's thinking if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't take care of her, you were right. That was another thought that came up. She said, I'll see her bodily fluids when she's pregnant and gives birth, and would I not take care of her then? I said, of course I will. In my head, she gave 9 months of her body to our child, and I wouldn't take care of her. Like, what kind of guy would I be? I also thought, oh, she sees that far into the future with me. My heart wants to burst. We promised each other that we will improve our understanding of the other person's feeling and that we will be there for each other no matter what, poop or no poop. My mom was not actively participating in all of this. It just so happened that she arrived that time to bring my food, and she was the one my girlfriend told her feelings to before leaving. By the way, we don't live together. I'm currently staying at my mom's house, but my girlfriend is the one driving me to physical therapy appointments before she goes to work and picks me up after. So I think she is doing more than enough. Plus, I mentioned all the kisses and cuddles, right? I think this girl is the one. When we were talking, my heart felt so full. Thank you, everyone, for all of your comments. Edit, thank you, everyone, to all the well wishers and concerned and thoughtful private messages. I just want to share that we are expecting my physical therapy to last for 3 months only, and I should be as good as new by then. Fingers crossed. I just need to regain strength. I do believe I found the one, and we will hold on to each other till the end. Aw. I mean, I didn't think that he should have like broken up with her because of that. That's a little crazy, but obviously they needed to have a conversation about why she was so upset. I'm a little confused though because he's 31 and she's 24. Like they're old enough to have a conversation, like a mature conversation about that, and the fact that he's just being so he the way that he's writing makes him sound a lot more young than he actually is, but I guess that's men for you, right? Okay, let's read some comments. Oh, to be loved by someone who casually deals with the gross stuff when you need help. It's a gift, which I will still be very embarrassed about bringing up regardless. Yeah, I ended up with a really bad flu. At one point, I threw up so hard I lost control of my bowels. I went to the bathroom to clean myself up and told my partner I'd take care of it when I got out. I got out to find clean clothes set out for me, the bed made with all new bedding, and he was gone because he went down the hall to start doing laundry. I asked why he did that, if I was okay to deal with it. He said, you feel awful. It's not that hard for me to do, but would be an absolute torture for you, so I just took care of it. Not his exact words, but pretty close. It was still embarrassing, but him doing that was really sweet. He still takes care of me as my degenerative condition gets worse, and I know I can always count on him. Oh, and just to mention, when he got sick, right as I was getting over the bug, I cleaned up after him, except for the laundry. I couldn't go down the stairs safely, but I did the rest. Reflecting on my shitty marriage, my ex had IBS, and I cleaned up a lot of poop and vomit. The one time I got a stomach bug, like you described, I ended up just throwing away the clothing I soiled. He refused to touch them, and I couldn't even rinse them out, let alone do laundry. So that was my only option. That's so funny because all me and my boyfriend will always like every time we'll shower together, he's always asks me to wash him, and he's like, we always are like, would you do this for me? Like, would you help me if I got really sick and I couldn't like bathe myself or I couldn't wipe my ass and stuff. And we always say that. We're like, would you take care of me if I got sick and you had to always bathe me and stuff? And it's so funny. We always are saying that and I love it. It's so cute. It's like reassuring to know that someone loves you enough to wipe your ass. So I feel like I would take that as a compliment for sure, but that doesn't mean that I would be any less embarrassed. It would definitely take a little bit to get used to, especially because all the horror stories that you see, especially on Reddit, of like people, husbands cheating on their wives because they get sick and they get like not attracted to them anymore because they see them in this vulnerable state. And it's just crazy to me to think that that's like what happens to some couples, even like long marriages. It's just you take vows for sickness and in health, and people just don't take those seriously, and it's really sad to me. But the title of the next story is My 37 female husband, 43 male, is cheating on me with an 18-year-old boy. What do I do next? I'm in my late 30s. He is in his early 40s. We've been married for almost 10 years, no kids. In the last year, he came out as bisexual, but not by choice. I caught him talking to men on Grindr. He swore he never physically cheated and was just exploring fantasies he never had the chance to explore. We went through a significant rough patch, but ultimately, I decided to give him another chance. Several months ago, he asked if I would consider an open relationship to allow him to experiment with a man. I said that wasn't something I could ever be comfortable with, and if he needs to do this, then the only option is to separate. I have tried to be patient and understanding. He said he didn't need it, and I should forget he even asked. Since the Grinder incident, I have not fully trusted him, and I admit I looked at his phone without permission. He has been texting an 18-year-old young man for well over a month. The messages are sexual, and he, my husband, is very overtly asking for more. I don't know if anything else has actually happened in person. This is not a young man he met online, at work, at a bar. That would still be horrifying to me, but at least slightly more acceptable. He is our close mutual friend's foster son, who we have known for years. I was aware he was gay, but I never would have dreamed that this would have happened. He is a child to me. I admit that at first I was angry with the young man, but I understand he is young and vulnerable, and it is my husband who is in the wrong. From the messages I saw, he was not encouraging this, and some of his responses to my husband seemed uncomfortable. I can't blame him. I have not yet spoken to my husband. I don't know what to say. He knows something is up because he is being overly considerate and attentive. I know I need to leave. I couldn't ever feel the same about him after this. I don't know if I should say anything to the young man or his foster parents. To be very clear, this relationship is over, but I need advice about how to approach it. Small update. I'm currently staying with a friend while I figure out my next steps, and I have been making a start getting legal and financial advice in place. I have not yet spoken to my husband. He seems to have realized something is up because he is being much nicer and trying to engage much more than usual, but staying with a friend for a few days is not terribly unusual for me in itself. I have not yet spoken to 18 male and or his foster parents. I am still trying to figure out the best approach, but I have received some helpful advice from this post, which I will keep in mind. I don't imagine any of this will be resolved anytime soon, but I expect the coming weeks to be extremely difficult. Further update. I have spoken to the young man's foster parents and briefly to him. Some information came to light that stressed the urgency and led me to believe it would be safer and more helpful to speak to them first, despite him being over 18. I don't have the time or energy to explain exactly what happened, and of course, it wouldn't be appropriate to share a lot of the detail. The situation is even more complicated and upsetting than I realized, and my husband is entirely at fault. The young man is safe, more or less, and my husband's behavior is no longer hidden from his carers. I'm in the early stages of determining my next steps regarding separating from my husband, and I'm receiving specialist advice about this. Ew. So your husband's known this little kid. First of all, I still think regardless of 18 being legal, it's still fucking weird, okay? And second of all, you've known him since he was a little kid. So how you don't see him as a little kid is beyond me. I am disgusted and scared. And also, him continuing to make comments knowing and seeing that this poor 18-year-old is uncomfortable, gross. But there is obviously another update. We're going to read some comments on this first post, though. The top comment is you need to tell your close mutual friends first before your husband can take any control of the narrative. They can talk to their foster son, and if they feel safe to, let you know how far this has gone and how predatory your husband has been. It might be legal, but it's super predatory for your husband to go after a friend's foster child. There's a clear power imbalance. After you've done what's right for your close friends and their foster son, you can decide how you want to proceed with your husband. And someone said, especially since it sounds like they've known this kid for years. And then someone responded to that. This is what got me. Her husband has known this child for years before he turned 18. It sounds super duper predatory. I wonder if there was grooming. These kids have already been through so much in the foster system. The last thing they need is a grown ass man preying on them. The whole thing gives me the ick. Same. That's literally so disgusting and vile. I will never understand. It's like, you're 43 years old, sir. Please, for the love of God, you're not like, not only are you a cheater, but you're also a predator, and I'm scared. If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you. Update. I posted to ask for advice about a very difficult situation, and then they kind of go over that situation, which we're not going to read because we just read that story. I left to stay with my friend because I couldn't look at my husband and I didn't want to discuss it with him on any level before receiving professional advice. I contacted my friend's 18 male's foster parents and asked to speak to them and their son. I then became aware he is currently having some kind of mental health crisis. As a result, I spoke to his parents rather than going to him directly, which I still believe was the correct choice. It was difficult, and a difficult conversation, as I'm sure you can imagine. I think they did their best to manage their feelings for my sake, but they were appalled, as am I. They spoke to their son without me present, and he gave them full access to his phone and admitted that what had been going on. He said, "My husband's attention was unwanted, and I fully believe this. My friends shared the messages with me, and they were significantly worse than what I had already seen. Allegedly, it didn't start until after he turned 18, which isn't much comfort. I've been in contact with a divorce solicitor and I am clear on the next steps. The relationship is over. I have no interest in reconciling. I have now spoken to my husband and it only validated my decision. I gave him the opportunity to admit what had been going on and he played dumb. As he became increasingly aware that I knew something was going on, he tried to cover himself and make vague excuses. When I told him specifically what I knew, he tried to blame 18 male for pursuing him when he was vulnerable due to being unsure of his sexuality, which was sickening as well as untrue. When I confronted him with the evidence, the messages, when he realized I didn't believe 18 male was the instigator, he blamed his actions on depression and overconsumption of corn. I believe the latter is true, but it is certainly not an excuse. I informed him of my intentions to end the relationship and pursue divorce. He was quite unpleasant and hurtful at this point. My intention is for any further communication to be done via third parties because I can't bear speaking to him. The separation is in the very early stages and it is likely to take a considerable length of time to resolve, even if my husband cooperates, which he currently does not seem to be minded to do. Financially, I'm in a good position, and the solicitor I have been dealing with has been reassuring. I have good support, though most people in my life have no idea what happened. I'm ashamed of his actions and my poor judgment. I can't say much about 18 male. He is very mentally ill, and my husband either took advantage of that or contributed to it, or most likely both. His foster parents are fully aware, and I understand he currently has a lot of involvement from mental health services and social services, so I hope that he is safe. I don't really have a relationship with him, and it isn't my place to get involved just to make myself feel less guilty. That's all I can say, and I don't imagine there will be anything more to add other than divorce proceedings hopefully progressing as quickly and smoothly as possible. I'm trying to focus on the practical issues, but emotionally, I'm not doing well. I'm not looking forward to confronting that when the dust settles." Ew. That's so sad also because this poor boy is going through a very vulnerable time in his life, obviously dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and I'm sure he's been through a lot, like being in the foster system. And obviously, I don't know any of the details of that, but I know that that can be hard. And I, I have cousins that were adopted, and I know that sometimes the foster system cannot be the best of places, but I am very glad that it seems like the parents that are fostering this boy are very responsible and are a good placement. Obviously, I only know as much as this girl is telling me, which isn't a lot, but it does seem like they care and they're taking like initiative on helping this boy with his mental health, which is really great. Also, he is 18, so technically they really, obviously, I know this is fucked up to say, but I know that in a lot of cases, like foster parents, after the kid turns 18, they'll kind of like drop them, right? I don't know. I could be wrong, but my brother's best friend growing up, him and his two brothers were adopted or being fostered. I don't know. And I know that right when they turned 18, they completely cut off contact with their foster sons. And it was, I don't even know. I need to like update myself on that situation because it was so long ago that I don't remember the exact details, but I feel like it was three brothers. I know it was three brothers because my brother was like best friends with all of them. They were living with these parents, and as far as I know, they were great parents, and I think they were the foster parents. I'm not sure they fully adopted them or not. I've definitely told this story before, like recently, but I know that right when the kids turned 18, the parents completely dropped them and like cut off every contact with them, kicked them all out like as soon as they turned 18. I think two of them were twins and one of them was not a twin. I don't know. I need to like ask my brother what that situation was because I can't remember, but it was something along those lines. So obviously, it's great that they're helping him, even though he's 18, which the bar is in hell. Obviously, like that is, you should still be helping when they're 18, but I feel like it's just so, at least for me, a lot of the things I've heard with the foster system in that sense has not been the most positive. So I'm really glad that these parents seem to be helping. Okay. The top comment: you did the correct thing in speaking with the foster parents and are right to divorce your husband. Hopefully, it's as smooth and expedient as possible. I wish you well. I love how the perpetrator, the husband, always blames the kid, the 18-year-old, who obviously has a lot of issues and probably was groomed slash manipulated. You are so naive at that age still. It grosses me out how a 43-year-old man used an 18-year-old to be sexual and figure out his sexuality. I'm sorry, OP. You did the right thing. This isn't just an 18-year-old either. He grew up in foster care. Of course, he's having a mental health crisis. He's a member of the single most vulnerable, routinely abused group of people in the entire US. I can almost guarantee that OP's predatory ex isn't the first person to abuse him, because I have literally never met a foster child who hadn't been deeply neglected and or abused after going into the system, let alone before. There's also inherent delays and disabilities that go along with going into foster care, because at the ages when other kids get to learn how to be people, they're occupied with just trying to find a square foot of ground to stand on that doesn't immediately crumble under their feet. An 18-year-old foster child is almost inevitably mentally younger than 18, specifically because they had full access to their developmental years stolen from them. He has likely never been able to just be a kid the way most people would think of that phrase ever, and now he's had to face this too. More exploitation. Reading through the story makes me want to cry for him. So sad. I don't know why this just made me think, well, I know why, because obviously, like, the foster care system, but I've always been like, what, are there orphanages in the US? This might be the dumbest question of all time, but is that like a thing in other countries, but not here? Because I feel like I don't ever hear about, or is that like not an aged out thing? Is that like a thing that used to be more common? I don't know. Somebody please let me know. I could just Google it and like research and see what's up about orphanages, but I don't know. Because I feel like there's the foster system, but what about like orphanages? What about that? I don't know. I could Google, but I know that maybe some of you, it's always nice to hear it from like people that actually maybe are more educated about it, which you guys always, every time I ask you guys questions, you guys always let me know like nice educational things about certain topics, and I feel like it's more personal and I learn more from you guys than if I were to just like search it on Google. So if you guys know anything about the orphanages or if they're in the US or if that's not a thing anymore. I could sound so dumb, and this could be like the most common sense question ever that other people know, but I don't. But I would love to know. The title of the next story is: my fiancée, 25 female, dumped me, 26 male, on Tuesday. Today she tells me she wants the apartment to herself tomorrow for her Valentine's date. Trigger warning: loss of home, death of loved one, emotional abuse. Okay. I'll try to keep this short because I'm so stunned. I think I've stopped being able to process things. I've 26 male, been with my fiance, 25 female, for 4 years. We've been engaged since last year and actively planning the wedding. Last month, we moved to a new city across the country because my fiance got an amazing job offer. I wasn't happy about it since I had to quit my job and all our family and friends were in the city we left. I was kind of a jerk during the moving process, but I've come around since getting here. My fiance kept talking about this guy, late 20s maybe, she worked with at her new job, and it made me uneasy. I went to a few after work events where he showed up and he seemed like a total asshole. Very full of himself, artistic type. I didn't like the way he interacted with my fiance, and we would occasionally fight about it. Tuesday night, she got home really late, sat me down, and broke up with me. She said she felt an immediate bond with this coworker that's stronger than anything else she's ever felt before. This from the woman who just a few months ago I held in my arms while watching the stars as she told me she's never felt more at peace than when she's besides me. I laid awake on the couch all night feeling like I was continually being punched in the stomach. I didn't fall asleep until 3 p.m. yesterday and stayed asleep until this morning when she woke me up. Basically, she's having this asshole over for Valentine's Day and demanded she get the apartment to herself. Between the move, all the deposits we had been putting for wedding stuff, and not having a job since we moved out here, I have literally no money for a hotel or anything else. We got into a big fight because I called her out and said she knew I had nowhere else to go. She said that's not her problem. She's done solving my problems for me. What? And that I needed to fix this one on my own. I guess his roommate is having a date over, so my fiance offered our place for her date with the asshole. She says this is happening no matter what I say. So yeah, what the hell am I supposed to do? First of all, she can't make you leave your own apartment. Obviously, that's really hard because you don't really want to be there while she's having a date. This girl sounds like the devil. Satan for himself. Like, this is giving me the chills. It's making my bones quiver. I cannot believe someone could do this. That's so despicable. And not in a good way. Not in a Gru way, not in a minion way. It's in a bad way. I'm scared of this girl. She has no soul. No soul. Ugh. Okay, let's see some of these comments. Someone said, oh, no, 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 no. Hell no. You're going to park your ass on the couch tomorrow and you're going to refuse to move come hell or high water. Do not leave. What a heinous move on her part. OP said, I basically told her I would refuse to move tomorrow, but she said this man was coming over no matter what. You're disgusting. I want to bop you actually in the head. I cannot believe. Oh my God. Well, then they're going to have to deal with having a romantic date with another dude sitting on the couch, aren't they? Opie said, I can't emotionally handle seeing her date another man right in front of me in our home. I understand I would be fucking up their night, but I think I'd shatter on the spot seeing them together. Yeah, that's literally. Uh, I'm so stressed. I'm stressed. Oh my God, stop. There's 2 edits and then there's an update. We're going to read the edits. I appreciate everyone telling me I should stand my ground. I told my fiance I wouldn't leave the apartment, but I don't think it's a threat I can carry through with. I will be emotionally devastated if I have to watch the woman I love and care for more than anyone else date someone right in front of me in my own home. Other suggestions would be appreciated. Edit 2, thank you so much for all of your suggestions. I can't keep up with all the comments. It's almost overwhelming given everything that's going on in my life right now. I'm going to take a walk to try to clear my head. I just can't bring myself to tell my family and friends what's happened. It feels so embarrassing. I like the ideas about trying to reach a compromise. I have a lot to think about. It doesn't sound like this bitch, I hate her so much, would want to come to a compromise. I mean, she's clearly the worst person on planet Earth, and she deserves jail time. So I'm scared. But let's read the update. I've 27 males spent the last year. Oh, this is a year later. Okay. Spent the last year working very hard to improve myself. Now that it's Valentine's Day again, I was thinking about what a dark place I was in last year. I didn't have the strength to post an update back then, but now that I've had some time to heal, I wanted to let everyone know how I'm doing. Thank you all to everyone who helped. You were the only support I had last year, and it meant the world. It looks like my original post was deleted. I can still see the text when I log in here, so this is the old TLDR. Part of the reason I didn't update afterward was because I was extremely embarrassed with how things turned out. It's only because of some intense therapy that I'm able to be honest and okay with telling this story. Basically, I decided to make one last big attempt at winning her 26 female back. Right after we got engaged, my ex had a close relative succumb to a long-time illness. This relative was very happy that she lived long enough to see us get engaged. When my ex was a child, this relative had given my ex a charm that she wore all the time. A few months after the relative died, my ex lost the charm, and it was like the relative died a second time. As we packed up the apartment to move the new city, I found the charm. Rather than give it back immediately, I decided that I would keep it in a safe place and surprise my ex with it at our wedding. I thought it would be a meaningful way to include this relative in a moment where she would be deeply missed. Somehow I got in my head that if I showed her the charm on Valentine's Day, she'd remember everything that we shared and that I could cut through whatever fog she was caught up in. I was under the impression that my ex would come home after work by herself to get the place ready for her date. I was planning to use this alone time to give her the charm and either win her back or lose decisively and leave before her date showed up. But instead, she showed up with the asshole from her job. That threw me through a loop big time, and it was incredibly awkward. He was patronizing. She became livid that I stole her charm. I struggled to articulate myself. It was the most embarrassed I've ever been. I got out of there and literally walked around all night until it got so cold I couldn't stand it anymore. I went back to the apartment building around 4 a.m. in what was a personal low point, fell asleep in the hallway outside of our apartment. But that was the low point. There have been high points since then. I was able to move back to my hometown, and my old employer gave me my old job back. I even met someone else, and we dated for a while. We just broke up, though. It sucks to be alone again on Valentine's Day, but I've learned it's okay to be sad every once in a while. And compared to last year, this year is practically a celebration. Therapy gave me a wonderful perspective on life and some great coping skills for when times get difficult. As for my ex, I heard she married the asshole guy from work. Her sister would text me occasionally, and apparently her family hates the guy. Whatever, it's not my problem anymore. Lastly, I want to thank everyone on Reddit. Sincerely, people offered to buy me a ticket home. Other people offered to hang out with me if we happened to be in the same city. Some people even offered just to Skype with me so I could have someone to talk with. Even though I didn't respond, your messages meant so much to me. Thank you. Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support. I can't believe people offer all that stuff. That's so sweet. That's so sweet to offer a stranger. Like, do you guys, like, do you want to hang out? I'll give you money. If I had money, I would also be doing this. Like, hello, here you go. Here's money. Also, buy yourself something sweet. Buy yourself a sweet treat or something. Like, ugh, that's so sweet and so cute. That really restores, I feel like, your faith in humanity. But also, I hope that girl is the most unhappy person. And I hope that she gets divorced. And I hope that she gets cheated on. Sorry. Not sorry. Because that's actually so terrifying. Let's read 2 comments. Someone said, I remember when this was originally posted, the above really moved me. Also, there was this part. I went back to the apartment building around 4 a.m. in what was a personal low point, fell asleep in the hallway outside our apartment. Whom among us hasn't fallen asleep during the lowest point in our lives, only to wake up to a new morning where everything goes upward from there? Honestly, as much as Reddit sucks, I had a feeling that someone would offer to buy him a ticket when he mentioned he couldn't afford one, and I'm glad that I was right about that. Last year was the worst year of my life, and it really bottomed out with me having a mental breakdown and lashing out at people and engaging in self-destructive behavior for a few days. I lost a lot of dear friends, including my best friend ghosting me and getting banned from the Discord server I founded. I cried for the first time in years from something other than a book or a movie and fell asleep. Though not everything has been perfect since then. Life has been on a generally upward trajectory since then. I'm happier than I have ever been in 3 to 4 years and am doing really great comparatively. I wish that I would have posted on Reddit when I was going through my breakup, because the last breakup that I went through, I could have really used the Reddit community to help me through it. Like, I feel like I just was talking to anyone and everyone at this point, you know? When you're going through that, like, breakup where you're that point in the breakup where it's just you would talk to a brick wall. I would go to Taco Bell because I couldn't eat, and I would be like, okay, well, I can't really eat, so I need something like really yummy so that I could even take one bite of food so that I'm not like starving. And I I would take like one bite of a cheesy roll up and I would just cry in my car and just like be so depressed. And I would just be talking to myself. I would record myself. I would scream so loud because when you're just like so sad and so frustrated with life and you just want to, oh my God, it felt so good to just scream and like bawl my eyes out. And I'd be so scared if I saw someone doing that. If I was an outsider and I saw myself in my car screaming, eating a cheesy roll up, like crying, crying, vomiting, throwing up everywhere, I would be like calling 911 and being like, girl, you need help. But little did they know I was just going through a breakup. It's fine, whatever. Okay. We can all agree that within the timelines of a breakup, this was a pretty shitty move on her part, right? Um, yeah, I think we can agree without even having to say that we all agree. That's wild. Like, that's the craziest thing ever. I don't even understand what happened. Did she dump her BF, dated another one the day after, and married in a year? Yeah. Ugh. To be fair, my ex was cheating on me, dumped me, was dating the guy within the week, and was married like 2 months later. It happens a lot. To prove that the breakup wasn't my fault, look at how everything just fits with this new person. Never mind how that means the whole relationship is an attempt to prove something about the last one. I'm sure that's a stable foundation for the rest of their lives. LMAO. Yeah, I really hope that they have the worst marriage they've ever had in their entire lives. And they just wonder every day why bad things keep happening to them. I hate to wish that on someone. Like, please, someone gift me an evil eye because God forbid someone wish that kind of stuff on me. But like if you do shitty stuff like this to someone, you deserve such bad things. You deserve the worst karma. Has there ever been a case where a grand gesture actually won the person back and they lived happily ever after? No, because usually I feel like for the most part, when you like decide you want to break up with someone, it's only going to make them not want to stay with you the more that you like beg for them back. I mean, obviously there are in some situations, but I feel like the best thing to do if you get broken up with is just to keep your head held high. Don't. Obviously, like it's fine to want like closure and to talk to that person and just be like obviously sad and let them know that you're sad at first. But then after that like initial closure breakup talk, you just have to move on with your life and you have to try to like stop thinking about it and you have to try to move on and try to get over it because you just never want to. If it's meant to be, it will come back. Like obviously you guys know me and my boyfriend, which I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me because like I always see people saying they wish they never shared like private information about their relationships, and obviously whatever, it's fine, but people are always like, I wish I never shared that about my relationship as like a content creator. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I think I'm too far gone after that. I mean, I haven't really shared that much stuff, but obviously I shared with you guys that me and my current boyfriend that I live with broke up like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. And we were dating for like a year at that point. And I forget what I was going to say. I forget what I was saying. But I remember just like immediately I was like, I'm not going to beg for him back because then what? Like, oh, I'm going to beg for him back and then I'm going to have like the worst anxiety ever just thinking about how he's probably going to want to break up with me or he's going to break up with me or it's just like holding off another breakup. Like, no, I'm just going to literally be so sad. And then, oh my God, that was like, I can't even think back. I have literally so much trauma from that day. That was like the worst day ever. It was so gloomy. It was raining out. I go outside. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, like, we just broke up. I was literally heartbroken. And then I just cry all day. I didn't eat all day. I have to stay in his apartment with him. Like, we were sleeping in the same room, the same bed. And then I'm flying home the next morning. My flight gets delayed like 5 hours. So more stay like, and oh my God, it was so bad. And then finally I was like, honestly kind of happy that it got delayed because I was like, this is the last time I'm ever gonna like talk to him or see him again. And I was like really sad. That was really hard for me to think about. And then he dropped me off at the airport and I was just like bawling and then I just like walk away, and I check into the gate. I get on my plane. I have a layover in Atlanta, Georgia. Like, why did I have a layover in Atlanta, Georgia? That's crazy. Because I was flying the opposite direction. But anyways, I have a layover in Atlanta, Georgia. I get off my flight. I'm waiting in the airport, and I'm immediately calling a therapist, like scheduling my first therapy with a new therapist, because I had a therapist at the time, but he was actually so bad. And yeah, I was scheduling a new therapist. I was like, I need help. I am so depressed right now. It was so terrible. But yeah, then after that, I didn't talk to him for so long after that. I mean, not so long, like a couple months, but there was no way that I was like gonna beg for him back, because I just know that like that would just make it worse. Like, I don't want someone that doesn't want me. But at the same time, I was heartbroken and so upset. But I just knew that like I needed to get through it, and I needed to work on myself to get past my anxious attachment, because I was dealing with the worst anxious attachment in that relationship that I had never felt before. I had never had that anxious attachment before. And I think it was because we were long distance that I had such a bad anxious attachment. But yeah, I wasn't used to that, because like in my previous relationships, I never had an anxious attachment. Maybe that's just because I didn't like my previous relationships, any of them, that much. But it was crazy. But we're back together, and we have been, and we're so happy, and we're gonna get married and be together forever, so it's gonna be okay. But at the time, I obviously didn't know that. So yeah, it was pretty bad. It was a pretty terrible experience. It feels like just yesterday, honestly. It was bad, but it was also fun at the same time, because I still had a lot of fun, but I still also was like so depressed and so sad. And the first couple weeks were like the worst of it all. And I lost so much weight. It was crazy. But yeah. So, anyways, that's the end of the episode, the Storytime Society episode. Let me know what you thought about those stories. And let me know if you like this topic, or what, if you guys want any like specific subreddits. I'm going to try to do new subreddits that I haven't done episodes on. Like, I just posted the pro revenge one. I'm going to see how you guys like that one. And then I'm going to try to do a couple new ones, like a week, so that I can see what you guys like. And I feel like it's nice. It's fun to have like fresh content and fresh subreddits. But yeah, I love you guys so much. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being the best. And I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye. My merch is out. Yeah, but this is it. And this comes in pink, black, and white. If you want to get a little cute piece of merch, go grab one. Link is in the description to purchase. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.